Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video is a draw with me. You're gonna see my process when I am actually trusting the process. Today's tools that I'll be using, I'll definitely link in the description, but just briefly, I am using my mechanical pencil, as you see here, from Zebra, using the 0.7 millimeter mechanical pencil. I know it's definitely been a minute since I posted a video. Life's been, lifing as usual, and I am truly doing my best. I finally got a tripod set up that wouldn't fail me, unlike the initial video that I posted, I believe like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, definitely not going to be having that happen again. So today I definitely wanted to try something new. I wanted to focus a little bit more on my coloring technique when it comes to hair, especially the female hair. I was literally talking to my partner just the other day, like, I think I struggle when it comes to like doing like a female character's hair. And they're like, no, I think it looks good. I'm like, I feel like I could definitely use a bit of practice when it comes to that arena. So here you see me readjusting the braids a little bit to make his look a little bit more natural, and a little bit more accurate to the reference that I'm using. Like I said, I found this reference on Pinterest. I think it was like an ad. You know how Pinterest is like bombarded with ads? It drives me crazy, but I have a hard time finding references elsewhere. Instagram is definitely a great place for that as well, but I just have a hard time sketching, like using a reference on my phone versus like my iPad being on the side, because the image is bigger, the proportion just feels right. I don't know, if you know you know. I think re-sketching and sketching this specific one took me about like 23 minutes to do in its entirety. If you follow my Instagram, you know that I did a poll there where I asked my very little followers what I should do, whether I should just leave it as a completed sketch or like an incompleted sketch, because if you know me, you know I love the look of an incomplete artwork. I don't know, I just enjoy the beauty of like the lines and everything. It just looks really good to me. But I know that's not the case for every artist, to each their own, of course, but my preference tends to be lean towards unfinished sketches, yeah. So I did a poll there on my Instagram asking my followers if I should color or not color this specific art piece, and I think it was like 88% voted for me to color it. So I was like, okay. It was definitely fun working on this piece. In total, when it comes to coloring this in, it took me about almost 2 hours, really. So in total, this art piece took me, give and take, like 3 hours or so, 3 to 4 hours to do. It basically felt like it took me all day to get this done. And of course, everything is edited down to about like 23 minutes for this video specifically. And when it comes to like putting out the work in other social media platforms like Instagram or Shorts or TikTok, it edited even further down to like 30 seconds or like 15 seconds or 10 seconds. And I don't know how I feel about that. I know a lot of artists do say that like it kind of does suck, because what takes you forever to do, you spend a lot of your time perfecting or creating, this isn't praised or rewarded in terms of like the algorithm when it comes to whatever social media platform, especially Instagram. I really feel like right now Instagram is like the pit of hell, but that's like another rant for another day. Okay, so I was literally in the groove of it and the camera died. Oh. All right, we move. The camera did die on me as I began coloring, and I didn't realize until I laid the foundation or like the first base for the skin tone. And it was kind of interesting that that happened because I was talking about how I was layering the foundation for the skin tone. I believe I began with WG0.5, which is the warm gray 0 for the Ohuhu Marker set. I think it's part of the skin tone set. I have a lot of markers and sometimes it does get mixed up. So I was using that in addition to YR209, which is hazelnuts, and YR20 as well. For the shadow of the skin tone, I was using BR2. I was a little bit hesitant to use the darker colors like YR91, only because I haven't perfected using darker tones and just being able to balance that out with light. And it's something that I'm definitely working on and going to be doing so moving forward. And I'm just happy to keep recording my progress. For the hair, I began laying a base for the part which was YR209. That was the marker I was using for that. For the hair as well, I went in with WG001, and that was from my other bigger marker set on the right side. I wanted to experiment a little bit outside of just using black and grays to do my hair, so I wanted to have a little bit pop of blue in there. And I'm really glad that I went ahead with that decision. I think it definitely brought more colors to the hair. So the colors I was using for the hair was the layer foundation was WG01, which I already mentioned, BG5 and BG9. This is from the marker set that has a chisel and a nib tip on both sides, on either sides, and just working that in. I was trying to find a technique for getting a nice stroke using the chisel. I am not a fan of using the chisel, and for this specific art piece, I definitely wanted to challenge myself to use the chisel tip side of the marker. So here you'll see me go back and forth between using the chisel and like finding a nice groove and then going back to the nib when I'm struggling. Yeah, I find that the chisel gives me a nice texture, or it gives a little bit of a texture to the piece without making it so two-dimensional or too flat. And with that comes layering, so you'll see me keep going over it with BG5, which is the base for the braids themselves, and then going in with BG9, which is for my shadow details as well. And I'm leaving a bit of space for highlight, which is like point where the light is hitting the hair or the braids, as I see in the reference photo. And then when I needed it, I was using 120 from either marker using the chisel and or the brush end from my brush set, using that for the really darker shades. And just highlighting certain areas. Another thing I did for this art piece that I haven't done for most of my art piece, or that I'm trying to change, is not actually lining my art. Usually I would line them with my micron pens just to solidify that line art, but I'm moving away from doing that only because as an artist, naturally I want to grow and I want to experiment and find my style, and with that comes just trying different things and pushing myself to do something that I normally wouldn't do or I don't necessarily enjoy doing. And I think this is a very universal lesson for everyone, not just like artists, even when it comes to like coding or just your everyday to day life and how you move forward with things. It's always good to try to challenge yourself and do something new, take a risk. You might enjoy, discover something new about yourself, about your art style in particular, or just how you handle things in your day-to-day life when you are trying different things, right? You can learn new skills that may help you if like you're struggling with certain areas in your life or in your social aspect, or in the social aspect, I should say. Another thing I've been doing a lot of lately, which speaks to me trying something new and just pushing myself to grow and become better. I've been doing this outside of the camera and not recording everything I am doing, and I've been pushing myself to draw every day. This is something that is definitely new to me, especially because in the past I did struggle a lot with drawing multiple times within a day, or just being able to draw more than one thing on an art page or in my sketchbook. Outside of that, also like finding the energy and the motivation to keep the momentum going, as in like drawing the next day, the next day after that. So for me, being on this streak of being able to go into my sketchbook every day and being able to produce multiple arts within a day, multiple pieces within a day, it's such a huge deal for me, and I'm just so proud of myself and want to give myself that kudos and that pat on the back. Um, because I had in my head like, oh, I'll never be able to do this, I won't be able to do this, and just being able one day just having that like fire and just going at it in my sketchbook without fear, it's definitely something that's new to me and I've been enjoying, and I just can't wait to see where that takes me going forward. But yeah, I really didn't know what it was. I think maybe I was just experiencing art block, or my form of art block. I do want to acknowledge that not all artists or not all individuals experience burnout the same exact way or rate as others may experience. For some people, it could be like a whole year, right, of taking a break from creating. For some, it could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, months, so on. So everybody definitely does experience it differently. Some people could be increments, like they're able to produce so much within a day, but unable to do so for like the next week or months or days going forward. And for me, I think it's been about striking a healthy balance of giving myself a break when I know I need a break. And I feel like as artists, like you will get to know yourself as an artist and understand like when and where it's time for you to like take a step back from your sketchbook for like a little bit. It could be like a couple minutes, a couple hours. You could say, okay, that's enough for today, and just pack everything up, right, and try again the next day, and that's okay. Not being able to produce every day is okay, and I think that sometimes there is stress that we put on ourselves, or stress that maybe your audience or followers may be putting on you. And it's okay, right? It's okay if you are in a space where you do need a creative break, that you are experiencing some form of burnout, even if it's outside of work, like maybe outside of like artwork and yeah, your work, but maybe it's like your work seeping into like your creative life, right? And that's totally burning you out in terms of like your creativity being drained and whatnot. So yeah, just saying that it is okay to go at your own pace, right? Life is not a race, and I think the same goes for how you create. So for me, I think the thing I'm taking away and the thing I want to hold on to the most is just that idea of being okay with going at my own pace, and being okay with trying different things, different art styles, different tricks, different challenges, right? But also giving myself permission to pursue things that I've always wanted to try. One of those is being able to use one marker, or a specific shape of marker for like your art piece. I always found that cool. Whenever I see that, I'm like, I want to try that, but I've never, fully gotten around to it. And, never say never, because I am planning on doing that very, very soon. And I am excited to see how that turns out. I think I definitely also want to use this channel to document my process and my progress from where I am. And I want to see how far I can get with my art, with coding, with just being creative in general and how I use different outlets for my creativity. And quickly before I go, can we just admire how good that looks, how good the braid looks? You know, never mind the ends, because I could definitely do better, I think. But the braid looks so good to me. Like, where is the struggle? This looks really good to me right now. I'm saying all this to say I am very satisfied with how the hair came out, how this specific art piece came out. I do wish I took a little bit more of a risk in certain areas, but overall I am very much satisfied. As always, thank you so much for tuning into today's video and just being able to create with me and relax with me. I know I do enjoy watching other people create art whilst I create my own art, so hopefully that was that video for you. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning into today's video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.